Hello and welcome to another edition of Conspirator Brock's Pull List. This is my pull list for the week of December 14th, 2016. Yes, we are we're a little over halfway to Christmas. Yay. Big week this week. Yeah, be prepared for it. I'll start with my pull list, but I am going to show you guys something with the first book. So let's get right into it. First up, we have Action Comics number 969. We continue the Men of Steel story arc, where Lex is being hunted because he is apparently going to end the world. Big surprise there. What I wanted to mention about these books, or about some books this week, is that in the DC books, especially, most of them will have this insert in them. It's fairly thick. It makes the books exceedingly heavy, but it is an insert to advertise the Justice League versus Suicide Squad crossover. So you'll fold it out and there's a nice little article you can read, but then it folds out to this very big fold out poster of all the characters involved in it. I mean, it's large. So you can see there, it is a lot of pages of an insert. So, I'm looking forward to checking one of these out. But it does make your DC books a little bit bigger this week, and definitely heavier this week. So, be aware of that if you're kind of used to your books being a little bit lighter. They're not going to be lighter. They're a little bit heavier. Funny enough, they're about the same size, I think, as the regular books. So, yeah. So, for most of the DC books, you will have that insert. Alright, continuing on with the pull list. Next up, we have Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Adventures number 2, and the only cover you should pick up is the one with Harley on it. There's another variant, and probably more. I just picked the Harley one. Next up, we have Britannia number 4. I would like to read this book, but the copy of number 1 we were supposed to get into the shop was damaged, and so I need to get another copy. So hopefully I get that soon so I can read the rest of it. Next up is DC Bombshells number 20. Again, I enjoy the Bombshells theme, but overall I wouldn't recommend the story as something you really absolutely need to read. I'm at this point just getting it until it's done. Next up we have DC Rebirth Holiday Special. This is a $10 book, and it is chock full of holiday goodness. Hopefully it's a decent one. A lot of times the holiday special issues aren't necessarily the best or anything to write home about, but I've liked some of them over the years, so I'm going to give this one a shot. Next up, we have Descender number 17 from Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen. Really awesome title. I look forward to reading this every time it comes out. It's a very slow book, but it is a very enjoyable book. So, yeah, if you have not yet checked it out, I highly recommend it. Next up, we have Detective 946. We continue the Victim Syndicate story arc, which is amazing. If you have not yet checked out Detective, I highly recommend you do from the start of the Rebirth stuff. But if you're not sure, start from the Victim Syndicate. It is a really solid story arc. Next up, we have a book that just won't die, and that's Earth 2 Society, number 19. We're taking guesses on when the last one is hopefully fairly soon, because I think the last issue was solicited in previews. So we shall see. But Earth 2 is okay. It just needs to end. Next up, we have The Speed of Darkness, number 12. The Flash continues with this story arc. In the last one, we were left with two people who were transformed by darkness. Yeah, it's pretty good stuff. Enjoying it so far. Next up, we have a book that's been totally, utterly amazing, and that is Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps number 10. This continues Bottled Light. If you can't tell from the cover, yes, that is Kyle Rayner, and he is back. So I'm really excited to see where they go with Kyle in the Rebirth stuff, but yeah, good stuff. Next up, we have Red Hood and the Outlaws, number 5. Overall, it's been a good book. I've enjoyed it. It's not something that I would say is on the top of my list, but it's not something that's on the bottom of my list. But I've been enjoying Red Hood and the Outlaws. Alright, next up is one of the fun Hanna-Barbera books, and that's Scooby Apocalypse number 8. They're all very wordy, but it's great stuff. Just a fun kind of take on Scooby-Doo and the gang in this kind of post-apocalyptic world that Wilma kind of created, or helped create. Next up is a book I'm really excited for because it is the prelude to Justice League vs. Suicide Squad, and that is Suicide Squad number 8. The main story, I think, focuses just on the Suicide Squad, but the backup story, apparently with Killer Frost, is the prelude into Justice League vs. the Suicide Squad, which I'm really excited for. And then we have Superwoman number 5. Lana Lang is Superwoman, and she is dealing with having powers and also having anxiety attacks. It's actually really interesting to see a character who's dealing with a mental health issue, and she's hiding it from her significant other, which is Steel. And so, yeah, it's really cool to kind of see that dynamic in the back while superhero stuff is going on with her, and she's learning how to be this superhero. So, if you're curious about it, I would recommend it. It's pretty good. And then we have Wonder Woman number 12. It looks like Ares, God of War, is back, so we shall see where that goes. The Wonder Woman book has been amazing, with the story told in the past and the story told in the present. If you have not yet checked it out, it is a good stuff, and you need to be reading Wonder Woman. Like, it's good. And then last up on the pull list, we have Wrath of the Eternal Warrior number 14. I've been really enjoying this series on the Eternal Warrior. Really good look into who the character is. Just overall a really solid Valiant book. Next up, we have the wonderful slew of variants that I picked up this week because I'm a sucker for variants. First one is the Gary Frank one for Action, and that is Action 696 for... Got Bottle City stuff going on left and right, it looks like. And then we have the one for Detective, 646, Murder. Then the Flash has one from Johnson, going on in with the Speed of Darkness. And then there's the Red Hood and the Outlaws variant that I thought it was okay, so I picked it up. And then of course we have the Oddball Suicide Squad ones. This is with Harley Quinn. I'm not a big fan of the artist, but some of the covers have been really good. The Katana one was really good. Next up, we have the one for Superwoman, which I think is just fantastic. And finally, we have the variant for Wonder Woman, which is the artist, and I can never remember her name, but she does the revival stuff. So, yeah. And then I got a bunch of other stuff to show you, but that's pretty much, no, I got one more thing from the pull list. Batman Epilogue Volume 10 comes out this week. This will finish up your hardcover collection for Batman from the New 52 stuff. This is an odd one because it only collects issues 51 and 52 of Batman. It collects the Future's End story and Batman Annual 4, and also the sneak peek at Batman Rebirth number 1. So not very much is actually in this, but they did lower the price down to like $22.99, so it's not as costly as the other ones are, but still it's kind of a weird ending book for Batman. Something came in the mail today. Actually came in the mail for both Ryan and me at the shop. We opened it at the same time, and we both opened up our pre-ordered copies of his Suicide Squad Extended Cut. I have already downloaded the digital version and put it in my Flickster video. I tried watching it for a little bit before I came in, but Flickster decided to take a crap on my phone. But I'm really excited to check this out. It's just a shame that I probably won't be able to do it until tomorrow night, so I have to wait another day. But I'll watch it. Then we have some purchases, some special order stuff that came in. DC's been doing this icon line, and they did this ginormous one for Darkseid and Grail. It's very heavy. so at least the heaviness of Darkseid is there, and then Grail compared is just this tiny thing. This retails for about $100. So if you have a Darkseid fan or somebody who really liked the Darkseid War stuff, it's probably a pretty good Christmas present for them. So yeah. And then because everything needs to come in at the same time, even though I order it over a span of months in previews, I got another wonderful Harley Quinn statue from the designer series, and this is Bruce Timm, the guy who did the animated stuff. So yep, got a nice little one there. Hopefully I'll be able to get to doing an unboxing video of this lovely lady at some point, but not right now. Right now I need to finish giving you the pull list. So yeah. So now we need to do the read list. So these are the books that I read to stay current, caught up, and all that wonderful stuff. So let's get right into it. First up, we have Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows #2. The first one was interesting. I liked the mini that came out of Secret Wars. So yep, so I'm going to continue with it, but we shall see if I stick with it. Then next up we have Inhumans vs. X-Men or IVX #1. We shall see if this is any good, but from what I've heard of like people flipping through it, it's very wordy and nothing much happens. Next up we have Brian Michael Bendis' Jessica Jones #3. The first two issues have been really good, so I'm going to check out issue 3. It really makes me want to go back and read the Alias stuff that he did, and I know it's collected in trades and stuff, so I need this. Needs to get on my list somewhere, but there's a ton of stuff to read. I actually got caught up with my books today on Tuesday, and then it's Wednesday, so I'm behind again, but I did read a little bit, about halfway through The Wicked and Divine Fandemonium, which is volume 2 of Wicked and Divine, which I'm really enjoying. So yeah. Next up we have Moonshine #3 from Brian Azzarello and Edward Rizzo. The first 2 issues were interesting enough, so I'm going to keep going with it, but I'm not sure where the book is going to go completely, so I'm curious to see if issue 3 kind of solidifies it for me and whether or not I want to keep going with it. Then next up we have Old Man Logan #15. Still great stuff coming from Old Man Logan, so I can't wait to read this. I don't believe Sorrentino's not the one doing art on it, but he will be back. This is the filler artist. Next up we have Reborn issue 3 from Mark Millar and Greg Capullo. The first 2 issues have been enjoyable, so I'm going to check out issue 3. But the only thing I'm worried about with Mark Millar is that he won't be able to end the thing. Next up we have Star Wars Poe Dameron #9. I've been really enjoying the Poe Dameron series. Can't wait to see where that one continues to. And finally on my read list is Supergirl #4. Yes, Supergirl has dropped to my reading pile. I'm not sure if I want to continue with it, so this is kind of the make or break for me. If I don't like it from here, I will get rid of my other issues and stop reading or just put her on my read list. So that's pretty much it for this week. Big stuff this week. Thursday night I go to see Rogue One at 7:30 at Valco, one of the malls around here, and I'm taking my son Brody, who's 5. He's really excited to go. I know a lot of people are like, you're taking your son to a Star Wars movie at 7:30 and it's 2.5 hours. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing it every night of the week. Just doing it as a special occasion. Jeez, slow down. So I'm really looking forward to that. He did an amazing job on going to his first movie, which was Force Awakens, even though we didn't finish watching it. I think this time he's really excited, and he'll most likely stick through. But he has to stick through because otherwise I'm not going to leave. So it's a learning experience. Also, this week I wanted to mention one of my subscribers, Rez. She does her own YouTube channel. I think it's Rez Reads. And she does live shows talking about the comics that she's into or read that week and so on and so forth. Yes, Rez, I have not actually watched a full episode of yours. I apologize. But, busy as shit guy. It's kind of hard to do. But she invited me to be on her live show. So I believe Saturday the 17th, I'm going to be on her live show. I'm no clue what's going to happen. It's live, so anything can happen. So if you're around, I think it'll probably be late or in like the evening, 8-ish, 9-ish Pacific time. So yeah, so it's a little bit running late, but if you get a chance to watch it live, watch it live. Otherwise, you know, if you can, check it out at some point. I will have a link in the description below to her YouTube channel. So I recommend you check out hers and see what she's talking about, because I know she focuses a lot on more independent books, which I don't necessarily do here, even though I would like to, but there's just so much to read that, you know, yeah. What else do we got going on? I don't think there's too much else going on. We finished recording episode 289 of the Comic Conspiracy. It was pretty much just Ryan and I. Toby came down and made a slight appearance. But we talked the November sales charge numbers, so really scintillating stuff. We also talk about some exciting news that came out of Warner Brothers today, which was that that they're going forward with Margaret Robbie and David Ayers. They're going to be attached to Gotham City Sirens. So, yes, I'm really excited for that. Hopefully they are true and we get a Catwoman and a new Poison Ivy out of it. Also, hopefully it's really grungy, and so they really release a Poison Ivy Gotham City Garage motorcycle figure. Yeah, so that was some exciting news, so we talk about that, so you can check that out on episode 289 of the Comic Conspiracy. There, again, link down in the description below for that. You can follow me on Twitter. My handle is @BrockSager. Yeah, and you can also support me and my fellow conspirators through Patreon at www.patreon.com/comicconspiracy. And for as little as $1 a month, you help us with hosting and getting stuff and food and all that stuff. So thank you very much to our Patreon subscribers. And as Patreon backers, you can you get access to Bryce Briefly's and also Charlie and Toby's The Roundup, which is a show where they just talk about TV and movies that are not comic book related. So we all watch other things, and so yeah. Next week on the Comics Conspiracy podcast, we will be recording a double episode, which will, part one will be next week, and the part two will be the week after, and that'll be our lists for the year. So our top comics, movies, comic movies, TV, comic TV, all that wonderful stuff. Yeah, so looking forward to that, which means I need to do some research and figure out what the hell I like this year and get a top 3 list. So yeah, so I got some homework to do. I got some Suicide Squad to watch. Yeah, Rogue One coming up. Busy week for absorbing entertainment for me this, yeah. So remember, check me out on Rez Reads, her YouTube channel. There's a link in the description below. I'll be on there on Saturday night. Check it out live, or if you don't get a chance, watch the show afterwards. I'm curious to see how it goes. So yeah. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you next week.